Buddhāvataṃsaka Sutra. Book 26. The 10 Stages. Video 9. Furthermore, to the enlightening beings who have reached this stage of immovability, who are stabilized by the supporting power of their past vows, the Buddhas in the course of that means of access to the teaching, miraculously effect the bestowal of knowledge of reality and say, "Good, good." This is acceptance of the ultimate truth, in accord with the teaching of Buddhas. However, you do not yet have our 10 powers, expertise, and unique qualities of Buddhahood fully developed. Therefore, work vigorously in quest of the full development of Buddhahood. Do not let this acceptance go. Nevertheless, though you have attained this abode of peace and liberation, you should care for these restless, agitated ignorant beings acting on various afflictions and ravaged by various thoughts. Also, always remember your past vows, the benefit of beings, and the inconceivability of the source of knowledge. Furthermore, the essence of all phenomena remains the same whether or not Buddhas emerge. The realm of reality of the essence is permanent, for it is the emptiness and ungraspability of all things. It is not only by this that Buddhas are revealed as such. Even listeners to the Buddhist teaching and individual illuminates also attain this non-conceptual essence. Yet you should observe the infinity of the body of us Buddhas, the infinity of our knowledge, the infinity of the lands of Buddhas, the infinity of accomplishments of knowledge, the infinity of spheres of light, and the infinity of purity of voice, and strive to achieve the same. Furthermore, you have only this one illumination, which is the illumination of absence of false ideas about things. But such illuminations of Buddhas are endless in extent, endless in action, endless in manifestation, their number being incalculable and immeasurable. You should strive to attain them. Also, observe the infinity of lands in the 10 directions, the infinity of beings, and the infinite differentiations of phenomena, and undertake to comprehend them as they actually are. Thus do the Buddhas present to the enlightening beings immeasurable, incalculable ways of accomplishing knowledge, beginning with these. By these ways of accomplishing knowledge, the enlightening beings, by infinite differentiations of knowledge, cause works productive of knowledge to be consummated. I tell you, if the Buddhas did not introduce the enlightening beings this way into ways of effecting omniscient knowledge, the enlightening beings would become completely extinct in parinirvana and would cease all work for sentient beings. Therefore, the Buddhas give the enlightening beings such infinite tasks to develop knowledge, the knowledge-producing deeds effected in a single instant of which are immeasurably, incalculably greater than all former undertakings from the first inspiration up to the attainment of stability in the 7th stage. Why? Because previously it was practice undertaken with one body, whereas having climbed to this stage the power of practice of enlightening beings is realized by infinite different bodies, by production of infinite voices, by accomplishment of infinite knowledge, by accomplishment of infinite manifestations, by purification of infinite lands, by development of infinite beings, by service of infinite Buddhas, by realization of infinite principles of Buddhahood, by accomplishment of infinite powers of mystic knowledge, by realization of infinite differences of circles of assemblies, by infinite accomplishments of physical, verbal, and mental actions. The power of enlightening beings' practice is fully realized by immovable application. It is like a boat going to the ocean. Before it reaches the ocean, it is dragged with much effort, but once it reaches the ocean it is propelled without effort by the wind. The distance it travels on the ocean in one day is farther than it could be dragged by force in even 100 years. In the same way, enlightening beings, having stored provisions of roots of goodness and boarded the ship of the great vehicle, reaching the great ocean of practice of enlightening beings, arrive at omniscience in a moment by effortless knowledge, which could not be reached even in countless eons by their former practices involving effort. Then when enlightening beings have attained the 8th stage, by the effortless awareness produced by skill in means and knowledge, they contemplate the sphere of omniscience, contemplate the becoming and dissolution of the world. As the world forms, they know it, and as the world disintegrates they know it. They know by what accumulation of actions the world forms, and they know by what ending of actions the world disintegrates. They know how long the world forms, and they know how long the world disintegrates. They know how long the world subsists once it has formed, and they know how long the world remains disintegrated. Everywhere, without exception, they know the limitation of the earth element, they know its extensiveness, its infinity, and its differentiation. They know the limitation of the water element, they know the extensiveness, infinity, and differentiation of the water element. They know the limitation, the extensiveness, infinity, and differentiation of the fire element. They know the limitation, extensiveness, infinity, and differentiation of the wind element. They know the minuteness of atomic particles, they know their grossness, their measurelessness, and differentiation. They also know the skill of differentiation of measureless atomic particles. They know how many atomic particles of each element there are in this world. They know how many varieties of precious substances there are and how many atomic particles of precious substances there are. They know how many atomic particles of beings' bodies there are. They know the total number of particles of land masses. They know the grossness of beings' bodies, the fineness of their bodies, and the differentiation of their bodies. They know how many particles are formed into bodies of beings in hell, how many into bodies of animals, of ghosts, of titans, of celestial beings, and of human beings. Having penetrated this knowledge of differentiation of atomic particles, they know the formation of the realm of desire as it really is. They know the formation of the realm of form as it really is, and they know the formation of the formless realm as it really is. They know truly the dissolution of the realm of desire, the dissolution of the realm of form, and the dissolution of the formless realm. They know truly the limitation, the extension, the infinity, and the differentiation of the realm of desire, of the realm of form, and of the formless realm. They know truly what is of these three realms. Furthermore, illumined by well-developed knowledge, versed in knowledge of varieties of bodies of beings, versed in knowledge of differences in bodies of beings, and versed in knowledge of differentiations of land masses, they apply their intelligence to the production of mediums of manifestation as beings. In whatever form beings are born and attain their desires, enlightening beings adopt these forms themselves for the purpose of developing beings to maturity. Permeating a billion-world universe, enlightening beings undertake manifestation according to the form of the beings there, according to their various different inclinations, doing so by following knowledge of how to appear as reflections, according to how beings may become ripe for perfect enlightenment and liberation. In the same way they pervade 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, up to an unspeakable number of universes, and undertake manifestations in the forms of the beings there according to their various inclinations, by means of knowledge of how to appear as a reflection. Imbued with such knowledge, well established in this stage, while not moving from one Buddha land, they appear as reflections in the circles of Buddhas and untold Buddha lands. According to the differences in beings' physical characteristics, their colors, appearances, statuses, physical sizes, inclinations, and dispositions, in various circles in various Buddha lands, in each the enlightening beings manifest the appropriate forms. In circles of mendicants they appear as mendicants. In circles of priests they appear as priests. In circles of warriors and administrators they appear as warriors and administrators. In circles of peasants they appear as peasants. In circles of servants they appear as servants. In circles of householders they appear as householders. In circles of various classes of celestial beings they appear as those particular types of celestial beings. And in circles of demons they appear as demons. To beings who should be taught by Buddhist followers, they appear as Buddhist followers. To those who should be taught by individual illuminates, they appear as individual illuminates. To those who should be taught by enlightening beings, they appear as enlightening beings. To those who should be taught by Buddhas they appear as Buddhas. Thus, to the extent of the realms of beings' forms of existence, senses, and inclinations, in the realms of untold Buddha lands, enlightening beings appear differently in accord with each of them. They are free from all discriminatory conceptions of bodies and have realized the equality of bodies. Their manifestation of bodies, endless and not in vain, is for the development and education of all. They know the body of sentient beings, they know the body of lands, they know the body of fruition of action, they know the body of Buddhist followers, they know the body of individual illuminates, they know the body of enlightening beings, the body of Buddhas, the body of knowledge, the body of reality, and the body of space. Knowing the wishes of beings, according to time, development, education, progress, and desire, the enlightening beings make the body of beings into their own body. In the same way they make the body of lands, the body of fruition of action, the body of Buddhist followers, the body of individual illuminates, the body of enlightening beings, the body of Buddhas, the body of knowledge, the body of reality, and the body of space into their own body. Knowing the heart's desire of beings, according to their desire, the enlightening beings make their own body into the body of sentient beings. In the same way they make the body of beings into the body of lands, the body of fruition of the teaching, the body of fruition of action, the body of Buddhist followers, the body of individual illuminates, the body of enlightening beings, the body of Buddhas, the body of knowledge, the body of reality, the body of space. Knowing the inclination of sentient beings, the enlightening beings put their own bodies into whatever body they wish. The enlightening beings know the embodiments of the bodies of beings as a mass of action, as a mass of consequences, as a mass of afflictions, as a mass of form, and they know formless embodiment. They know the smallness and greatness of bodies of lands, their measurelessness, their defilement and purity, their confusion, their inversion, their evenness, their interaction, and their differentiation of place and time. They know conventional distinctions of bodies of fruition of action. In the same way they know the conventions of distinctions of realization of bodies of Buddhist followers, individual illuminates, and enlightening beings. They know the bodies of Buddhas as the embodiment of perfect enlightenment, as the embodiment of vows, as the emanation body, as the embodiment of empowerment, as the body arrayed with marks and embellishments of greatness, as the body of light, as the mentally produced body, as the embodiment of virtue, as the body of reality, and as the body of knowledge. They know the well-considered nature of the bodies of knowledge, their derivation from truth, their inclusion in fruition and effort, their division into mundane and supramundane, their establishment of the three vehicles, their generality and uniqueness, their liberative or non-liberative qualities, whether they are proper to those undergoing training or to those beyond it. They know the equality of reality bodies, their indestructibility, their conventional definitions according to situation and agreed usage, their definition in terms of animate and inanimate, and their definition in terms of the realities of Buddha and the realities of the holy community. They know the infinity of bodies of space, their all-pervasiveness, their incorporality, their absence of falsity, and their revelation of bodies of form. Having realized such knowledge of bodies, the enlightening beings become powerful. They acquire control over lifespan among all beings, by virtue of the power to live endlessly, for untold eons. They acquire control of mind, by virtue of immersion in knowledge of measureless, countless concentrations and contemplations. They acquire control over implements, in terms of demonstration of the creation of many magnificently adorned sights in all worlds. They acquire control over action, in terms of showing the power of fruition of deeds according to the time. They acquire power over birth, in terms of manifesting birth in all worlds. They acquire control over inclination, in terms of showing all worlds filled with Buddhas. They acquire control over vows, in terms of manifesting perfect enlightenment in any Buddha land in any time desired. They acquire control over mystic powers, in terms of showing miracles by mystic powers in all Buddha lands. They acquire control of the teaching, in terms of showing the light of the teaching in its infinite aspects. They acquire control of knowledge, in terms of showing the power, expertise, unique qualities, special marks and embellishments, and actualization of perfect enlightenment of Buddhas. With the attainment of these 10 controlling powers of enlightening beings, they are imbued with inconceivable knowledge, incomparable knowledge, immeasurable knowledge, vast knowledge, insuperable knowledge. In the enlightening beings who have attained this stage and are imbued with such knowledge, ultimately impeccable conduct of physical, verbal, and mental action operates, led by knowledge, following knowledge, ruled by the 10 transcendent ways, with great compassion in the forefront, skill in means well articulated, determination well developed, completely stabilized by the empowerment of Buddha, ceaselessly working for knowledge to benefit beings, aware of the endless distinction in realms of worlds. In sum, the physical, verbal, and mental actions of the enlightening beings who have attained this stage of immovability operate for the concerted development of all aspects of Buddhahood. Thus, having attained this stage of immovability, the enlightening beings become well established in willpower, through freedom from the activity of all afflictions. They become firmly established in the power of determination, never deviating from the path. They become well established in the power of great compassion, not giving up the benefit of sentient beings. They become well established in the power of great kindness, being saviors of sentient beings. They become well established in the power of mnemonic control, not forgetting the teachings. They become well established in the power of elocution, through skill in examination of the distinctions of all the Buddha teachings. They become well established in the power of mystic knowledge, through familiarity with the actions in endless worldly realms. They become well established in the power of vows, never giving up all enlightening practices. They become well established in the power of the transcendent ways, through concerted cultivation of all the Buddha teachings. They become well established in the power of the support of Buddha's confronting omniscient knowledge in all its aspects. Having attained the support of these powers of knowledge, they show all activities, impeccable and undefiled in all acts. This eighth stage of enlightening beings is called immovable, because the enlightening beings cannot be deflected from their course. It is called the stage of non-regression because of the non-regression of knowledge. It is called the stage difficult to reach because of being difficult for any worldlings to know. It is called the stage of youth, because of innocence. It is called the stage of birth, because of power to effect whatever is wished. It is called the stage of perfection, there being nothing further to do. It is called the stage of completion because of having thoroughly accomplished ascertainment by knowledge. It is called the stage of nirvana because of having thoroughly accomplished vows. It is called the stage of empowerment because of being invulnerable to others. It is called the stage of effortlessness because of having been affected by what went before. Furthermore, having developed such knowledge, the enlightening beings enter the family of Buddhas, are illumined by the light of the virtues of Buddhas, accord with the conduct of Buddhas, come face to face with the realm of Buddhahood, and are constantly sustained by the power of Buddhas. They are welcomed by Indra, Brahma, and the world guardians, constantly attended by the thunderbolt bearers. They are never without the power of concentration, able to produce infinite different embodiments, imbued with the power of action in all bodies, consummate in development of great mystic knowledge, in control of endless concentration, receivers of infinite indications of enlightenment, and demonstrators of attainment of perfect enlightenment according to the maturity of sentient beings. Having attained such knowledge of this stage and entered the circle of the great vehicle, with well-considered wisdom and mystic knowledge, constantly emanating the light of wisdom, having entered the unobstructed path of the realm of reality, able to distinguish many paths in the world, showing all aspects of virtue, in control of their own resolutions, with perspicacious knowledge of past and future, endowed with the knowledge to turn back all demons, having entered the realm and sphere of all enlightened ones, they carry out the conduct of enlightening beings in endless places in the realms of the world, with non-regressing application. Thus are they said to have attained the eighth stage of enlightening beings, immovable. Then, having attained the immovable stage of enlightening beings, they are never without the constant vision of endless Buddhas because of accomplishment of the power of concentration. Yet they never give up extensive meeting and attendance on Buddhas. In every age, in every world, they honor, respect, serve, and provide in all ways for many Buddhas, many hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, quadrillions of Buddhas. They attend those Buddhas and receive from them provisions of illumination through their teachings, beginning with light on the differentiations of worldly realms. They further acquire the treasury of teachings of the Buddhas and become invincible in answering questions in the world. Those roots of goodness of theirs, forged and purified over many eons, become more radiant. Over many hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, quadrillions of eons the roots of goodness are further forged, purified, and become more radiant. just as well-refined gold made by a good goldsmith into an ornament and fastened on the neck or head of an emperor cannot be outshone by the ornaments of all the people in the realm. In the same way, the roots of goodness of enlightening beings in this immovable stage cannot be outshone by all listeners, individual illuminates, and enlightening beings up to the 7th stage. The light of wisdom and knowledge of enlightening beings who have reached this stage annihilates the darkness of afflictions of sentient beings, through accomplishment of accurate discernment of the means of knowledge. Just as a great Brahma god of 1,000 worlds, pervading the 1,000 worlds with benevolence, illumines them with light, in the same way enlightening beings in this immovable stage, pervading up to as many worlds as atoms in 1,000,000 Buddhalands with the light of goodwill, progressively extinguish the fires of beings' afflictions and cool them off. Among the 10 transcendent ways, transcendent vowing becomes predominant in these enlightening beings, while they practice the others as best they can. This is a summary of the 8th stage of enlightening beings, called immovable, the details of which would take forever to explain. Most of the enlightening beings in this stage become great Brahmas, lords of 1,000 worlds, supreme, invincible, seeing what is beneficial, imbued with controlling power, capable, mighty, skilled in the presentation of explanation of the transcendent ways of all listeners, individual illuminates, and enlightening beings, insuperable in answering questions about the differentiations of worldly realms. Whatever they do, whether by way of giving, or kind speech, or beneficial action, or cooperation, is never apart from thoughts of Buddha, the teaching, the community, enlightening beings, the practices of enlightening beings, the ways of transcendence, the stages, the powers, expertise, and unique qualities of Buddhas and ultimately of omniscience in all its aspects. Why? That they may become the best of beings, unexcelled leaders and guides, and ultimately all-knowing refuges. Accordingly, they bring forth such energy, by which they instantly attain as many concentrations as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, see as many Buddhas as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, and acknowledge their power, shake as many lands as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, illumine as many worlds as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, mature as many beings as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, abide for as many eons as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, penetrate as many eons past and future as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, ascertain as many ways into the teaching as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, and manifest as many bodies as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems, manifesting each body with a company of as many enlightening beings as atoms in 1,000,000 billion world systems. Beyond that, enlightening beings with the power of vowing produce, by the excellence of their vows, countless transformations of the body, aura, light, mystic powers, vision, sphere of action, voice, activity, adornment, power, resolution, or performances. Then Diamond Matrix spoke these verses describing this stage. Having purified wisdom and means in the 7th stage, well provided for the way, committed to great vows, firmly established, the best of humans, imbued with goodness, seeking knowledge, they enter the 8th stage. With virtue and knowledge, compassion and benevolence, going on infinite paths of knowledge, with awareness like space, with the power of certain understanding of the teachings they hear, the great sages attain acceptance of non-origination, tranquil and subtle. Primordially unborn, unoriginated, signless, always imperishable, not having become, unproduced, void of essence of being, thus, beyond conception. So they are freed from thought and mentation, just like space. Accepting all things as such, free from idle fancy, profoundly immovable, they arrive at peace of mind. It can hardly be known by worldlings, by their analytic reasoning, because it is beyond concepts grasping mental images. Thus stabilized, there is no thinking in their minds, like a monk who has reached extinction and attained non-thought, like one dreaming of being in a river freed from concern on awakening, like being in pure heaven, aloof of attachment to pleasure. On the basis of their previous resolution, the Buddhas further exhort them. This tolerance is higher than coronation by the Buddhas, but our vast knowledge and supreme Buddhahood is not yet yours, so begin heroic effort. Though you have extinguished the burning of the fire of affliction, having seen the world still afflicted, remember your past vows. Having thought of the welfare of the world, work in quest of the cause of knowledge, for the liberation of the world. The real essence of things is permanent, suchness, beyond thought, in all Buddha's disciples, and individual illuminates. It is not by this that the Buddhas appear in the world with 10 powers, but only by vast knowledge, unattached to past, present, or future. Thus do the incomparable ones, worthy of the honor of humans and gods, provoke in the enlightening beings thoughts of many aspects of knowledge, endless entry into consummation of the Buddha teachings, of which past enlightening practice was not even a fraction. Having thereby reached this stage of knowledge, these majestic people pervade everywhere in an instant, having gained entry into knowledge and having reached higher mystic knowledge, like a ship on the ocean being borne along by the wind. Free from mental effort, established in the work of knowledge, they discern the becoming, decay, and subsistence of lands, and penetrate the differentiations of the elements, their fineness, grossness, and distinctions. They go into every atom in the billion world system, the differentiation of the elements and bodies of beings, the distinctions and particles of precious substances in the realms of bliss. Knowing these, by their range of knowledge they calculate them all. Their minds developed in knowledge, they bring all bodies into their own body, for the benefit of the beings. Pervading the billion worlds with various forms, they manifest various bodies in endless worlds. Just as the sun and moon, while in the sky, appear as reflections in water, remaining in the highest knowledge of the unmoving essence of thusness, enlightening beings appear, as reflections, intending to purify the world. According to beings' dispositions, and the differences in their forms, enlightening beings appear in all groups, in all worlds. They appear as disciples, as self-enlightened, as enlightening beings, and in the glorified form of Buddhas. Beings, lands, as well as bodies of fruition of deeds, the various bodies, of reality, of knowledge, the bodies of sages, the body of space, majestic, all equal, they manifest, with various mystic powers, to satisfy the world. With tenfold control and reflection based on pure knowledge, acting in accord with knowledge, following kindness and compassion, doing whatever produces the qualities of all Buddhas physically, verbally, mentally, they are stable as a mountain. All the 10 powers of enlightening beings, unshakable, they attain to, invulnerable to all demons. Empowered by Buddhas they are honored by the gods and always attended by thunderbolt bearers. The virtues of those who have attained this stage are endless and could not be exhausted in a billion eons. Furthermore, They associate with millions of Buddhas and become radiant as regal crowns. The enlightening beings who have attained this stage become great Brahmas, lords of 1,000 worlds, rich in virtue. Able to expound the three vehicles inexhaustibly, their pure light of benevolence destroys the afflictions of the world. In a single instant they attain concentrations numerous as atoms in 1,000,000 world systems, steadfast, and see that many abodes of beings in the 10 directions. And those with superior will go even beyond this. This has been a summary of the 8th stage of enlightening beings, the details of which would take forever to tell. Continue to video 10.